Welcome back. Our next guest has a spot in the Musicians Hall of Fame, and critics call him a musical genius. Jimmy Ryan has played alongside some really big stars throughout his musical career. We can see those behind him. And he is here now to share his behind-the-scenes moments in his new book, Behind. Thank you for being here to share this.
My pleasure.
Well, yes, I mean, we can see that picture. When you walked in, you saw it, and I mean, you know some big names. You've worked with big names, right?
I have. The big names that pop out on my resume would be Carly Simon, Paul McCartney, Rod Stewart, Jim Croce, Cat Stevens, Elton John and Kiki Dee, and then, you know, kind of goes down from there. But I was a studio musician for many years, so most of the people I worked with you wouldn't have heard of, but every now and then you get a call from one of the big guys, and those are the ones that go on the resume.
How exciting. So you really have been around the country and even the world playing music.
Yeah, pretty much. I've been traveling since 1966. That was my first hit. I was a teenager, and I had a band called the Critters, and the Critters had Younger Girl, Mr. Dyingly Sad, Don't Let the Rain Fall Down on Me, all, you know, top 40 hits. And then we toured with Dick Clark, the Where the Action Is tour. Yeah, so I've spent a lot of time on the road, but actually more time in the studios.
Really?
That was the big career. The Critters were a touring and recording band, but the one I didn't mention was The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, who you may or may not know, or your listeners may not know. He had that song. Fire. Crazy World of Arthur Brown.
Quite a deep voice. So you're based in Fairfield, Iowa now, so you can get to all the coasts, right?
Yeah, makes it easy. Makes it easy.
Tell us about this book you wrote, Behind. It kind of gives you a behind-the-scenes look at your career, right?
Yeah, I had no intentions of writing a book, and I was just having a beer with my son Gavin, who is he works for Atlantic Records in New York City.
Oh, wow.
And whenever I get together with him, you know, we always trade stories. He tells me about what's going on in the music industry now, and I tell him about what was going on in my days. And I was just telling him a story, and he just stopped me and he said, "Dad, you got to write a book." And I said, "Write a book? Are you kidding me? I failed English in college. What? I'm not gonna." And he said, no. He said, these stories have to be written down. You're going to forget them, and people need to know about these. So I said, let me think about it. And I wrote down one story. You just showed a picture of the band, the Critters. We were just a fun, kind of easy listening kind of band. We weren't like hard rock or anything like that. But due to our manager shooting up a couple of ashtrays in a motel, we got thrown in jail.
Oh.
I opened the book with that. It was one of those, we did nothing, but the motel owner hated rock and roll bands, so he decided to embellish our adventure. Anyway, our record was falling off the chart at that time. It shot right up to #2 because kids said, wow, they got thrown in jail, they got cred. So anyway, that's how the book starts, and it's my personal relationships with these stars. I don't talk an awful lot about recording with them. I talk about hanging out with them, their personal lives, what bothered them, what they loved, our interactions. I mean, with Carly Simon, I worked with her for 21 years.
Wow.
I was her guitar player. I played on all of her big hits. So the book is a real fun read. It's very easy.
Well, and it's just been fascinating watching the pictures scroll by. And you know, nowadays we see so much stuff on social media. I feel like we get to know more about the musicians, but especially like Carly Simon and musicians, then we might not know all of these little tidbits and relationships.
Exactly. You wouldn't know any of these. These are none of the stories that would end up in People magazine or anything like that. These are just my personal relationships with these people and things that they've shared with me. You know, it's not a down and dirty tell-all.
Yeah.
It's mostly the fun stuff. But you know, one of the points I make is a lot of people envy big superstars. Don't. Their lives are just as hard as anyone else's, and probably even harder, because when you get that big and you fall, the fall is much farther.
Jimmy Ryan, this is so fascinating. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here to share this with us. Again, we can get this wherever books are sold, right? Behind?
Yep, it's worldwide release.
All right. Well, thanks again.
You're very welcome.